last time we left each other, you texted me and said you love me. That's the last time I heard from you.
Lisa, that's why this thing hurts.
I didn't do it to you! Shut the up about that. I didn't do it to you.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 5, Episode 6. And before we get into it, let me start off by saying that nobody is doing it like SLC right now. This episode was phenomenal, and the ladies are working. Everybody's activated. I'm going to keep repeating myself, but Mary Cosby being back as a full-time cast member was the best thing that Bravo could have ever done. I think that Bronwin has been such an amazing newbie. I love the fact that she is clocking Heather and Heather's way of producing behind the scenes. And Heather, we're going to talk about you in just a few minutes, so get comfortable. This whole mess between Whitney and Lisa Barlow, baby, when I tell you, the last 5 minutes had me gagged. Then we see the husbands about to fight, Justin versus John Barlow. I said, oh my gosh. Once again, everybody is killing it. The girls are giving what the other girls were supposed to have gave, in the words of the iconic Rolling Ray. But without further ado, let's just get right on into it, because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. Now, production on SLC has been top tier, because we open up the episode with it being in black and white. At first, I was like, wait, what's going on? So we see Angie K at home, and her associate comes over, and we find out that she's going to have him send out the invitations to her and Sean's 25th anniversary party. And the theme is mob, mafia wives. I said, oh, I love it. And I love how Angie K is in on the joke, because we all know that last season, Monica was up there accusing Angie K of being a part of the Greek mafia. So I like how she's saying, you know what? Let's have some fun with it. Let's have our anniversary party be a mob wives theme. Once again, Angie K really has potential to be a top-tier housewife. I'm loving her. I like the energy that she brings. Yes, she is a bit thirsty, but I like the fact that she leans into her thirst. She owns the fact that she wants to be on this show. But we see Angie K's associate going to everybody's house to hand out the invitations. I loved how he posted a wanted poster on everybody's doors. And I think Whitney said wanted for bath bombing. I just love how creative it was, very clever. And one thing about SLC, I think that they also win when it comes to the best invitations. Because last year, when Angie K had that Greek Easter party at her house, she sent the Easter bunny to all their houses. Just chef's kiss. So now we cut over to Lisa's house, and she just received her invitation. And I thought it was funny because when she opened the door, she's like, wait, what is this? Oh my gosh, how cute. It's an invitation, but is that my best picture? So Lisa's husband, John, is home, and he's asking her who was at the door, and she says, it was one of Angie K's hitmen. We've been invited to her 25th anniversary party, and I'm actually surprised that she invited me. So now John goes on to ask her, how have things been with her and Angie K? Have they talked? And Lisa says that nope, they haven't talked since the trip, and this invitation is the most communication that they've had since. Now, mind you, Lisa and John's youngest son, Henry, is in the kitchen while they're talking about Angie K. And Lisa says, Henry, Angie K was saying that I'm a bad mom and all you do is game all day and all night, and how we don't pay attention to you and we don't take care of you. So Henry's like, oh, Mom, you're a great mom. And it's no shade, but this whole entire interaction felt a bit rehearsed. Why do you need to talk about adult matters right in front of your kid? And also, Lisa, Heather put extra sauce on what Angie K said. If you could be mature and just talk to Angie K, then you would find that out. But I just think that it's crazy how you're taking Heather's word and not checking to see if that's actually what was said. And also, Lisa, let's not forget that you started this whole entire battle when you brought up how Angie K will hang up the phone to tend to her daughter Electra. Had you not brought that up, Angie K wouldn't be saying anything. So again, sis, you need to really take ownership. Henry had me screaming. He was like, Mom, why don't you and her box? So Lisa's laughing and she's like, oh no, honey, I don't fight. And Henry says, oh, well, that's what me and my friends do. The way Lisa and John turned around and said, wait, excuse me? I said, let us find out that he has some middle school fight club going on. So now Henry suggests that they FaceTime Jack because it's Monday, and I think that's the only time they can talk to him. So they FaceTime Jack, and he's doing well. He's at a restaurant, I think it was Michelin starred. And of course, Lisa's like, well, honey, send me and Dad the name of that restaurant so that we can go there when we come and pick you up. So now Lisa's asking Jack how he's feeling because she worries about him. Remember how on the Milwaukee trip, Lisa revealed that Jack had a health scare. And she goes on to say that they looked through all the scans and they've been ruling out a lot of other things, but they still don't know the exact cause of what happened to him. But she does feel a sense of relief, and Jack does feel a lot better. And now we cut to Lisa's confessional, and she says, for somebody to critique my parenting skills when my son is a million miles away, it's really hurtful. Lisa, I understand that, but I think that you need to stop listening to Heather and just call up Angie K yourself and find out what exactly was said. So now we jump on over to Whitney and Meredith meeting up at a restaurant to clear the air. So Whitney's happy to see that Meredith did decide to show up, and now we cut to Meredith in her confessional, and she reveals that she did have reservations meeting up with Whitney, but she does want to give Whitney the chance to acknowledge that she was wrong. So things are a bit awkward, it's a bit tense, and now Whitney says, you know what, Meredith, let me just start off by saying I'm sorry. I want to apologize to you for going so hard on you when we were in Milwaukee. And on top of that, I'm sorry for not giving you the benefit of the doubt. So Meredith does accept her apology. And now Whitney goes on to say that because she had already known about the post was very small, she felt like whoever brought it up was trying to intentionally hurt her. So Meredith cuts in and she's like, Whitney, if you don't mind me asking, who do you think is trying to hurt you? So Whitney says, Lisa. Meredith was not here for it. She says, girl, how is it, Lisa? And let me just stop for a minute because somebody made a great point on Twitter that Whitney's storyline since she got on this show has been accusing somebody of doing something and then having to backtrack and apologize when she finds out that it wasn't them. And we can go down the list because in season 2, she accused Mary's church of being a cult. Then in season 3, she accused Lisa of giving BJs to her business partner for Utah Jazz tickets. And if it's not accusing somebody of something, then it's the whole healing journey. So Whitney shares that she reached out to somebody who knows that account and she asked them if they could find out more information, and they came back to her and confirmed that it was Lisa Barlow. So now Whitney goes on to say that because she went on the podcast, Lisa went behind her back and brought this whole thing up. And now we see a clip from 2 weeks ago with Meredith and Lisa in a hotel room, and they're talking about this page saying that Whitney's stuff is from Alibaba. So Whitney reiterates that Lisa was the one who planted this whole entire thing and that it's hurtful. So now Meredith jumps in and gives her some sound advice. She says, now Whitney, I just want you to make sure that your sources are credible and they don't have you out here looking stupid. So Meredith urges Whitney to have a conversation with Lisa because she's not trying to be in the middle of this and she's not trying to be a part of this mess at all. Then she goes on to say that it's clear that Whitney's trying to rally her against Lisa, and that's not going to happen. So we close out the scene with Meredith giving Whitney even more advice, and she says, look, once again, just talk to Lisa because I don't want to see you go down this path with Lisa to find out that it wasn't her. And of course, it's going in one ear and out the other. Whitney says, I hear you, but I know that it's her. And Whitney, let me just stop and just check you quickly because it's clear that you want this to be the case. You want Lisa to be guilty. For whatever reason, you and your cousin Heather have a weird fascination and obsession with Lisa Barlow. Obviously, I have more to say about this whole entire situation, but we'll talk about that at the end of this recap because the last 5 minutes of this episode had me speechless. But anyhow, we jump on over to Mary. She's at home, and as she's walking around her house, we see Rob Jr., her son, and his wife. Now, did anybody else scream when production wrote wife in quotations? I said, y'all are so petty. Mary did her interview with Entertainment Tonight a few weeks ago, and she said that no, they're not legally married. So The case has been solved. That's just his girlfriend. But they're going upstairs, and I'm not trying to be funny. It's no shade. But when I saw them, I thought that they were two robbers. They're dressed in these hoodies. You can't see their faces. The wife is looking down at the ground. I said, what is going on? They're in pajamas. I'm like, oh my gosh. But all in all, this entire scene was hard to watch. You have Mary questioning Robert Jr. She's like, where have you been? And Rob Jr. is slurring his words. I couldn't even understand him. I had to put the subtitles on. But we find out that he was at a friend's house. Now you have Mary saying, okay, so when I called you, why didn't you answer? I don't know what he said. It sounded like he said that her call didn't go through. I don't know. But whatever he said, the answer made no sense. It's clear that him and his girlfriend are high. There's no way around that. So we cut to Mary's confessional, and she says that Rob Jr. has changed big time since this girl came into his life, and how he doesn't listen to her the way he used to. Now, Mary, I understand that you're upset and you're hurt about your son and what's going on with him. But let's not be so quick to blame the girlfriend. I really can't stand that. And I touched on that in my last recap. But I don't like how women always get the blame for a man's behavior. Robert Jr. is a grown man. He's 21, 22. He makes his own decisions, whether they're good or they're bad. Yes, I understand that your habits can change because of who you're around. I'm not saying that that does not affect things. But for her to act like he's just done such a 180 due to this girl and this girl alone, I'm sorry, but I'm not buying it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is our first time ever seeing what Rob Jr.'s girlfriend / wife looks like. We've only heard about her, but we do hear her talk. As they're walking back upstairs, she says, I love you, Mary, and Mary says, I love you too. Just a really sad situation, and it's not lost on me that Mary, I guess, is embarrassed about what's going on, because she even told them, look, I'm having company over, so please don't reappear. So now we hear the doorbell ring and Bronwin is over. She comes in with some flowers for Mary, and she brought her orchids. So lucky for Bronwin, orchids are Mary's favorite flowers, and Bronwin goes on to say that she likes Mary a lot. And she knew when she first saw Mary in that white Dolce & Gabbana coat at Lisa's Bezos party, she knew that they were going to be like this. So Bronwin is loving Mary's house, especially her kitchen, because Mary has a blue kitchen just like she does. So now they sit down to catch up, and Mary's asking Bronwin, how have things been? So Bronwin says, well, I don't know how fast news travels in this group, but when we left Milwaukee, when me and Lisa were in the airport, we found out that Lisa is close friends with my daughter's grandparents. And of course, Bronwin gives Mary the cliff notes of the whole ordeal, and she says my daughter has no idea who they are. So now Mary gets vulnerable, and she shares that her son doesn't know his grandparents either. She says that he's never met her mom, her dad passed away, and then Robert Sr.'s parents are gone as well. And now Mary shares a sad story of how when it was Grandparents' Day at Rob Jr.'s school, he would ask to stay home. Now, I love how Bronwin was asking Mary all the questions that us as viewers have always wanted to know, because Bronwin goes on to ask if Mary and her mom are close. So Mary says, no, when it comes to my mom is all about herself. It's always about what she wants and what she needs. So remember a few weeks ago when Mary shared that there wasn't food in her house, and we were all asking, well, were you guys poor, or was it because your mom just wasn't there? We find out that Mary's mom was not present, and that's the reason why there was no food in the house. So Mary goes on to say that when she'd open the fridge when she was little, there would be really weird things like cabbage and cranberry juice, and all she wanted was cereal. It's so refreshing to see Mary open up, because for a long time she's been a closed book, and the fact that we're really getting parts of her life story, we're finding more about her childhood, her upbringing. She's being open and honest about the struggles she's facing with her son, Robert Jr., and his substance abuse issue. I mean, she's really giving us a meaty storyline. So now the conversation turns to Angie K's anniversary party, and she says that she's excited for it, but she's also not trying to see Heather. She says that she's on the cusp of being done with all the bullshit. And it was so cute when Bronwin caught herself. She said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Mary. Is it okay if I curse in your house? Because I know that your house is with the Lord. So Bronwin shares that she met up with Lisa a few days ago and how Lisa told her that she was upset because Heather reported back about something that Angie K said about her and her parenting. Now, one thing about Mary is going to always whack Heather again and again and again.
And you're going to always get it again and again and again.
She says, well, that's because Heather is two-faced. And now she brings up when she went ziplining with both Heather and Lisa the other day, and how she was annoyed with Heather because why would Heather run back and tell Lisa anything that Angie said about Lisa? So Mary continues on by saying that she can't do two-faced people. She only wants one face at a time. Now, I agree 110% with Mary about Heather being two-faced, but I think that the real issue is low self-esteem, because that's the real reason why Heather is following behind Lisa, trying to be her flunky and her lapdog at her big age. And shout out to y'all, because one of y'all made a fantastic point in my last recap about how this really goes back to the Mormon church. And back when Heather was the perfect Mormon, she was probably in a very high position socially in the church, in the neighborhood. And then when she got kicked out the church, when she got divorced, that's when things turned for her. And now she's on the outside looking in, and she resents how Lisa is still able to live her life the way she wants to and still be in the church. But the way you broke it down, you really opened my mind, like, okay, yeah, I can see that. That makes a lot of sense. Lisa really embodies everything that Heather has always wanted. It's a lot there. There are so many layers to this. And ultimately, I think that Heather needs to go and see the lady. I'm not being shady when I say that. I really mean that. Therapy would do wonders for Heather. But all in all, I love how Mary and Bronwin are not letting up when it comes to Heather. They see right through her. The audience sees right through Heather. So I don't know why she continues to play these stupid games. So now it's the day of Angie K and Sean's 25th anniversary party, and we see everybody at home getting ready. So I thought it was funny when they flip to Whitney. She's getting glammed, and she says that she's a bit nervous to see Lisa. So did anybody else notice the foreshadowing when she said there's nothing worse than a husband jumping into a fight? And we all know that her husband and Lisa's husband get into it at the tail end. But anyhow, we flip right back to Angie K. She's out of glam. She looked beautiful. That dress, I said, girl, you better go ahead. I loved it. And I love how she knows how to throw a party. Ever since she joined this show as a friend of in season 3, her parties have always been those girls. The food has always been on point. That spread was spreading. I said, Potomac, please take notes. Y'all really struggle when it comes to having a spread at your events. But Angie K does it right every single time. The open bar, the charcuterie spread, the shrimp cocktail. I said, oh my gosh. So all the guests start arriving. We see Angie K's father and her Aunt Rita arrive. Then we see Whitney and Justin arrive. And Miss Whitney, while I think that you are wrong as two left shoes to accuse Lisa of sabotaging your brand, you looked amazing. While you're not my favorite person on this cast, you did that. Mary arrives. She looks good. She has on all red. I thought that Mary looked fantastic. Mary, please give your stylist a raise because they have really been getting you right. Every outfit so far has been a hit. Because in earlier seasons, it felt like you were putting everything on at the same time. It just felt like too gaudy, too much. But this season, I don't have any critiques or complaints. So we have Bronwin show up. She's in this all blue ensemble. And one of y'all said exactly what I was thinking. Bronwyn's look reminded you of Cookie Monster, and I felt the same way. It was giving if Cookie Monster won the lotto. And don't get me wrong, Bronwyn is still that girl. But sometimes her looks are also a hit or a miss for me too. But Bronwyn's look gave me more Sesame Street and not Mob Wives. I thought that Heather nailed her look. She came in with the updo, the short dress, the platforms on. I said, okay, come through. The fur, she looked good. So we see Meredith arrive. She's solo. And I was shocked to see her. But we find out that a week before the party, Angie K sat down with her husband, Sean, and she said that she wants to start fresh with Meredith and she wants to invite her. Sean wasn't here for it. He's like, I don't want her in my house because she caused so much havoc on our marriage last year with those rumors. I don't want her there. But we see Angie K pressing Sean to have an open mind, and she says, look, Sean, I really want us to move forward. I want to invite her. Sean had me screaming. He said, look, you can invite her, but we'll have to hire security then. And we cut to Meredith in her confessional, and she even says that she's surprised that she got an invitation, especially since Sean said that she was not welcome in their house. Now, all I have to say about this is I'm happy to see Meredith and Angie K put aside their issues and try to have a friendship, because I feel like this beef between them was getting so stale. I forgot why they were even angry at each other. So Meredith and Angie K toast to new beginnings, and now Meredith turns to Whitney and she says, Whitney, I want you to talk to Lisa tonight because I don't want you to have this bad feeling. I don't want to be stuck in the middle, so please talk to her. So Whitney says that she will talk to Lisa, and now they both toast to that. So now we see Lisa and John Barlow arrive, and one thing about it, whether you love or hate Lisa, Lisa is always going to give you a look. This entire look devoured. Lisa ate. She came out that car with that fur and those boots. I said, come through. Those boots were to die for. I said, oh girl. I said, please girl, let us know. That's how you do it. So mind you, Lisa is going around the room talking to pretty much everybody except for Angie K. And Lisa, here's where I have to just whack you, because y'all know how I am about etiquette, especially when it comes to hosting and how to be a good house guest. Lisa, I don't really care if you and Angie K have been going through all these issues. The minute you walked in, you should have said hello to Angie K first. Period. You greet the owner of the house. And when Angie K said, it's a bit awkward right now, I said, Angie, do not ever let anybody make you feel uncomfortable in your own home where you lay your head and pay the bills at. Lisa would have been escorted right out because that's disrespectful. If I agree to come to your home, whether we've had issues or not, I'm greeting you, because if I were so upset with you, I just would not have come. So Angie goes on to say that since her and Lisa have been friends for 15 years, it would have been a slap in the face if she did not invite Lisa. And I said, that's my issue with people. Stop holding on to dead friendships just because you've known each other or you've been friends for a certain amount of time. It doesn't matter. It's not about the length of a friendship or a relationship. If the friendship or the relationship is not healthy, it's okay to cut it off. If somebody's treating you poorly, you have a right not to invite them to one of your special milestones. I don't care if you've known this person for 30 years. You have a right to cut whoever you want out of your life. Please don't feel guilty or shamed into inviting somebody who you've grown apart from because you've known them for a long time. Time means nothing when it comes to how you've been treated. And the way Lisa walked in your home without greeting you, does she care about how long you guys have been friends? No. You were honestly better off not inviting her. So we now see Britani and her date arrive, and everybody's like, oh wait, who's that guy with her? And Heather spots him. She's like, oh my gosh, that's Aaron. I know him. He's a good friend of mine. And the way Heather kept repeating that she knew Aaron, I already had a feeling that Aaron and Heather had hooked up or done something. And we do find out from Heather that her and Aaron made out a while back. And she says that SLC is a very small place where everybody makes out with everybody. Now, was it just me, or did it look like Heather still wants to make out with Aaron? Because she did seem a bit, I don't want to say jealous, but she did look a bit sad seeing Britani on Aaron's arm. It looked like she wished that that was her. But we cut to Britani in her confessional, and she says that her and Aaron met on a dating app, and how every time her and Jared would be on a break, she would hit up one of her dating apps, swipe away, and she's a busy woman. She says that sometimes she'll book 3 dates in one night. I said, oh girl, I know that's right. Now Britani, seeing that you're always out on dates and meeting other men as you should be doing, why are you so hung up on Jared Osmond? Now, the way I was screaming because Mary walks over to them and she's like, hi, Jared, nice to meet you. So now Aaron says, oh no, I'm not Jared, I'm Aaron. So Mary walks away and she's like, well, who's that? And Mary was not trying to hear it because she goes over to Meredith and she's like, Meredith, who's that guy? That's Jared, right? So Meredith is like, no, that's Aaron. So Mary's like, no, that's Jared. Go and Google. So Meredith takes her phone out, Googles, and she's like, no, that's Aaron. Jared looks like this. Mary's like, no, that's Jared. Hands down, Mary is the funniest one on this cast. Now, it's no shade, but the newest friend of the show, Maylee, is not giving. She seems like a sweet woman, but I forget about her. We've barely heard her speak. The only things that we know about her is that she's Whitney's friend, and according to Lisa, she's always returning things at Nordstrom. But when she walked into the party, I said, now, Maylee, you got the invitation. The attire is black tie with a theme of mafia wives, and you show up like you're going to the movies. What was this outfit? This outfit was giving that money might be a bit tight, and that was all that you had in your closet. Because you didn't even try. You didn't put a piece of a fur on. We didn't get a nasty heel. Like, you gave us nothing. Now, one thing about parties and events on Housewives, there's always some drama stewing. So while the party's going on, we have Angie, Kay, and Bronwin talking, and Bronwin is congratulating her on 25 years of marriage. Angie Kay says, oh, thank you so much. I hope to be celebrating you and Todd soon. And Bronwin's like, well, girl, maybe not 25 years, but our anniversary was this week, and we are doing something, so expect an invitation in the mail. So now Bronwin says, look, I'm not trying to start any mess on your big night, but I do want to be honest with you, and I want to bring something to your attention. So she brings up how she was with Lisa the other day, and Lisa was upset by a remark that Angie said to Heather about Lisa's parenting. So she says, now, I don't know the full story, but the way it was presented to me was that Heather said that you were mom-shaming Lisa. So Angie's annoyed, and she's like, I never said that Lisa was a bad mom. And Bronwin says, look, I don't know what your situation is with Lisa right now, but one thing's for certain, Heather likes to start fires and then walk away and watch them burn. And Bronwin is 100% correct. Heather is the definition of throwing rocks and then hiding her hands. She's been doing it since season 1. Now, at first watch, I was like, okay, Bronwin, why are we bringing this up at someone else's event? But then I said, you know what? I like how petty Bronwin is, because Bronwin made it clear, like, Heather has been getting on me about every word that's come out of my mouth, so now it's time for me to return the favor. Bronwin's assessment of how Heather is trying to come in between Lisa and Angie K's friendship is spot on, because like I've said, Heather wants the #1 spot in Lisa's life. She wants to be Lisa's only friend. In Heather's mind, anybody else that's close to Lisa is competition, and she wants them out. So now we jump to Lisa and Britani talking, and they're addressing their recent spat when they were ziplining. So Lisa's like, are we good? Because I was never mad at you. I was just saying that Jared is so manipulative. That's it. So Britani's like, oh no, I know that. I wasn't mad at you either. I was just saying that, you know, things with Jared were hard. And I said, girl, will you stop saying that? That man has rejected you time and time again. You broke your own heart. Let it go. Never let a man tell you more than once that he doesn't want you. So as they're talking, Mary walks over and she wants to know, what are they talking about? So Lisa jokes around and says, oh, we're talking about you. And then she says, just kidding. But I do want to ask you, Mary, are you and I good? Because at ziplining the other day, you totally jumped on me. So Mary says, no, that's not it, Lisa. My whole thing with you is that if I get into it with somebody, you always take that person's side, the way you did with Heather. So Lisa's like, no, it's not that, Mary. It's just that I felt really bad for Heather in the moment. But as Lisa and Mary are talking, Heather walks over to be nosy, and she's like, well, what are you guys talking about? I said, girl, can Lisa have a conversation without you for once? So Lisa says, we're talking about what went down at ziplining the other day, and Mary gets right into it. She says, look, Heather, you leave a trail of lies everywhere you go. Heather was like, wait a second, what? So Heather says that it's extremely hurtful for Mary to call her a liar. And Mary says, I'm not trying to hurt you, but it's true. Just stop lying. Now, Heather must have forgotten who she was talking to because she starts cursing. She's like, don't you ever call me an effing liar. And Mary said, who are you talking to? She said, girl, take it down. Like, I'm not the one. One thing about it, though, Heather stopped cursing. I said, listen, Mary has the girl shook. So now Mary's still calling Heather a liar, and now Mary says, let's take it to God. Let's ask him who the liar is. So Heather's like, yeah, God knows. And Mary says, yup, God does know, and he knows all about you. Now, I don't know why these girls try Mary. She eats them up each and every time. Heather's like, Mary, name a time when I've been bad to you. And Mary says, name a time you've been good to me. I said, ooh. So we cut to Heather's confessional, and she says that arguing with Mary is like going up against the Mormon church because all you do is get gaslit. Now, let me just say this. Two things can be true. Heather is known to lie, but Mary, let's not act like you've always been so sweet and kind to these ladies. You haven't. You've been especially hard on Heather, from her appearance, calling her inbred, to various other things. Okay, so let's not act like you've been an angel or a saint, because you haven't. But they somewhat resolve their issues, and then you have Lisa saying, well, maybe let's do a group hug. And Mary's like, girl, no. So Mary walks off, and she sits down, and mind you, she's sitting on the couch with Angie K and Sean's daughter, Electra, and Electra's friend or cousin. And when I tell y'all, this had to be one of the funniest scenes of the entire episode. And Mary turns to them and she's like, woof, that was a big argument. And the girls are staring at her and they're like, well, what was the argument about? So Mary's like, women. So then Mary says that the argument was so big that her feet started to hurt and she could have kept going, but she stopped. So what really had me yelling was when Mary started laughing to herself and Electra and her friend are just staring at Mary in confusion.
That was a big argument. It made my feet start hurting. I mean, I could keep going, but I'm not. I'm gonna let it go.
At one point, I forgot that we were at an anniversary party because we just kept seeing more and more arguments take place. Because now we have Angie K and Heather going at it. Angie K says, Heather, I'm happy that you're here, but I am a bit confused because Bronwin pulled me to the side a few minutes ago and told me that you're going around telling Lisa that I said something about her parenting. So Heather says, well, yeah, you did mom shame her. And I said, now, Heather, let's not put extra sauce on the story. You went on and told Lisa that Angie K was saying that she was the better parent and how they don't spend any time with Henry. You did all that extra stuff. All Angie K said was, listen, her kid games a lot, mine doesn't. Was that a bit snarky? I guess, but like I said earlier, Lisa started the whole thing bringing kids up in the first place. So I don't think that Angie K was wrong for what she said. But for you to act like she was just bashing Lisa's parenting, that's not what happened. Angie K's main point is she wants to be a present mom because she did not grow up with her mom since her mom passed away when she was young. She wants to give her kid what she did not have growing up. That's it and that's all. For you to twist this into she's mom shaming, that's not right, Heather. And you really sounded crazy when you said, I just feel like something has shifted in you and you no longer have Lisa's back. I said, again, everybody's not trying to be Lisa's yes man. That's you. So they're going back and forth. And then finally, Heather says, well, let's walk over to Bronwin and let's address this right now. So they walk over to Bronwin. And of course, things go left because Heather is not trying to give Bronwin any credit. And she wants to act like Bronwin is the messy one when it's actually her. And I love how Bronwin is not afraid of Heather. She lets Heather know, like, look, girl, you think that you're the head bitch in charge, and you're not. And Heather, you did all that trying to confront Bronwin to storm off. I said, okay, girl. And Bronwin clocked it. She said Heather's doing all that because she wants to look like the good guy when she's not. Now, things get even more awkward because Jared Osmond arrives. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. We find out from Whitney that her husband, Justin, was the one who invited Jared to come. I said, let me find out that Justin wants to hold a snowflake. But I'm not even going to address Britani and Jared. Just such stupidity. Britani, the fact that you were sitting up there crying the minute Jared walked in, I said, are you kidding me? You're here with the cute date and you're focused on this man who played you to the left several times. If it were me, I would have paid Jared dust. And then you guys going outside to talk. I said, why are we having a conversation with some guy who has rejected you multiple times and you have your new man right there with you? Does that make sense? Again, I think that is pure stupidity and desperation and thirst on Britani's end. I'm sick and tired of seeing Jared's face on my screen. He's so thirsty for camera time. This storyline has got to end. Now we get to the last scene of the episode. We now see Lisa and Whitney go off to the side to talk. Whitney starts off the conversation and she says, Lisa, are you aware that you left your necklace behind in Milwaukee? So Lisa says, yeah, I did. It was an accident. So Whitney's not trying to hear it. She's like, okay, Lisa, so you were the one who brought the information about Prism to the group. So Lisa says, yeah, I was. Like, okay, girl, what's your point? So here's where everything goes downhill and everything goes left. Whitney says, well, I know somebody who knows that account and they verified that you were the one who fed that account that information. So baby, Lisa is livid. She's like, Whitney, don't do that. Don't do that. Are you accusing me or are you telling me? Don't accuse me of something that you're gonna have to apologize for later. So Whitney's like, no girl, I'm not asking. It was you. So now Lisa starts screaming and she's cursing. She's like, you're getting bad information. Give me the names right now so that I can sue them. So as Lisa's screaming and pleading her case, you have Whitney low-key taunting her. And she's like, oh, so you don't plant stories when you're mad? And Lisa's like, no, I don't do that. I don't do that. It wasn't me. Give me the names right now, Whitney. So now Lisa's like, I just can't believe this. The last time you texted me, you said that you loved me. And Whitney's like, I do love you, Lisa. That's why this just hurts so bad. I said, Whitney, do you hear yourself? If you love Lisa so much, then why are you accusing her of doing something so horrible? Whitney and Heather talk out both sides of their faces, and it drives me insane. So at this point, the focus is all on Whitney and Lisa. Everybody at the party is staring because Lisa is screaming at the top of her lungs, and rightfully so. If you accuse me of something like that, I'd be screaming too. That's an insult to my integrity, my character, my reputation, and for you to sit up there and lie on me like that, we'd have an issue. So as Whitney's running her mouth, Lisa is fuming. She gets on the phone and she's like, wait, I'm on the phone right now with my cybersecurity guy, Sean, okay? And she's like, hey, Sean, it's me, Lisa. So right now, Whitney is accusing me of something that I did not do, saying that I planted stories. Can you please look this up for me immediately? Get the police involved. I want the LAPD and I want the Salt Lake City police. I want all the police involved in this, okay? We're gonna take them down. I want you to go the distance. Now, mind you, as Lisa's on the phone with Sean, she's like, Whitney, the way you're about to owe me the biggest effing apology, and on top of that, I'm gonna send you the bill afterwards. I said, I know that's right. So now Lisa screams out that every time she thinks that her and Whitney are friends, Whitney F's it up. So she walks away and now Whitney says, I don't really care because Lisa's only screaming because she got caught. And I said, now, with all that happened with Monica last season, I highly doubt that Lisa would be so stupid to do something like this. And also, Lisa is very calculated. Do you honestly think that Lisa would be so sloppy to feed some information about Whitney's jewelry brand? Like, let's just use our brains here. I don't think that Lisa did this. I think that Whitney has a weird obsession where it's jealousy and it's envy. She can't stand Lisa, but she can't get enough of Lisa. And she wants to believe the worst in Lisa for whatever sick and twisted reason. The way Meredith even told her at the beginning of this episode, like, Whitney, you might want to do more research before you go around accusing Lisa and you have egg on your face. And Whitney has been so hell-bent that nope, it's nobody else but Lisa. And also, if Lisa were guilty, do you think that she would call up her private security guy to go and do research? If she were the one behind it, she wouldn't have done that. The fact that she's going to be shelling out top dollar to really figure this whole thing out shows me that she's telling the truth. Whitney, there have been rumors about your businesses for years since you stepped on the show. And for you to blame this on Lisa is pathetic. I honestly feel like this is your way of trying to get revenge because you felt embarrassed at her Bezos party in the first episode. Lisa turns back around, walks back up to Whitney, and she starts screaming that Whitney is a liar and she needs to stop fabricating. But Lisa, here's where you lost me. Lisa then walks up to Justin, Whitney's husband, and she's like, oh my gosh, your wife is such a liar. Tell her to stop lying. How does it feel to be with a liar? And Justin's like, don't call my wife an effing liar. And he's livid, rightfully so, because you walk up to him saying that your wife is a liar. Okay, now you've brought the husbands into it, and he has the right to defend his wife. And now John Barlow steps in like he wants to fight, and he's like, listen, man, like, that's my wife. And I said, now, John, I understand that you're protective of your wife too, but Lisa was wrong in this situation. She had no business going up to another grown man calling his wife a liar. That's not right. You should have said to Lisa, now Lisa, honey, like, let's stop, let's go home. Lisa, you going up to Justin like that started a whole slew of issues. And I saw the sneak peek for the next episode. Now the husbands are going at it because of what you did. That's not cool for you to do and then act like the husbands are getting in women's business. For all my married people, let me know. How would your husband or how would your spouse have reacted had Lisa walked up to them saying what she said? But yes, when it comes to the whole Whitney and Lisa situation, I'm on Lisa's side. But when it comes to this whole Lisa involving Justin in it, I'm on Justin's side. He had every right in my opinion. But y'all, we see a to be continued flash on our screens. I said a hot ass mess. There always seems to be a big blowout at Angie K's parties. But this episode was a 10 out of 10. SLC is truly in their bag, and I am seated. But y'all, that was my recap. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for listening on the podcast. And you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.